We are back on Patriots 4th and 2, the official podcast, PatsFans.com. I'm Russ Coleman. Joining me right now is Steve Balistrieri in the Secret Square, and of course, Derek Havens. In this preview episode of the upcoming game for the Patriots, we'll talk about their last game of the season against the Bills. We will also talk a little bit about the good news, and we'll just start with talking about the good news. In fact, guys, let's just get right to it. Let's talk about the positive news with the improvement of Damar Hamlin. And I got to be honest with you guys, I was very concerned about this. I literally just took a CPR class and took classes dealing with situations like this. And based on the timing of this, I was concerned that this would not end well. Well, it looks like it could potentially end well. So this is very good news. Derek, your thoughts on the positive signs with Damar Hamlin, and then we'll talk about the game.
Well, Steve and I recorded a show on Wednesday, just 2 days ago, and we weren't sure what to think. And in the last 48 hours, some absolutely miraculous improvement. Just so happy for him, for his family, first and foremost, for the Bills. And obviously there's been a wave of support around the league just because it just brought out, you put aside the sport and you bring in the human element of everything. And it's just incredible that the progress he's made. And I'm just so happy for him and his family.
Okay, excellent. Steve, your thoughts on the positive signs with Damar Hamlin?
Yeah, it looks like he's going to, we were worried that he was actually, whether or not he'd survive this, but now it looks like he's going to recover. I don't know if he'll ever play football again. I'm sure those questions are far down the road, but it's good to see them take his breathing tube out. He was able to talk this morning. He was going to record a message this afternoon for his Bills teammates. So rest assured, we will see that message on Sunday.
Very good there, Steve. Good stuff. All right, guys, let's get into talking about the game. And we obviously have to start with talking about the Bills. I don't want to go through all the permutations and everything going on with the playoffs because it gives me a popsicle headache. I don't even want to touch it.
I have it pulled up for just the Patriots if you want. I can.
No, I actually just want to focus on the game. To be honest with you, Derek, I think we should just focus on the game.
Well, you started off the show by saying it was the last Patriots game of the season, so obviously, subconsciously, I already know your prediction without even saying it.
Well, no, I should say last regular season.
That's what you should have said.
That was a Freudian slip there.
Well, there's a Goldman.
Yeah.
No, it's not a Goldman. It's a Freudian slip.
Okay. Well, we shall see, Steve. We shall see.
Sure?
So
I have right here.
So let's get to it, guys. Let's just talk about the Bills. It's a very interesting situation with them. If you're asking me, after watching the entire season, I think they're better than the Kansas City Chiefs. I think they're the best team in the league. That's my opinion. I'm going to stick with it. I don't know how this is going to affect them. Now, we can say they're going to just run through the playoffs, destroy the Patriots, and win the Super Bowl. I'm not so sure of that. We're going to have to see how this affects them. Again, you're thinking it's going to affect them positively. I don't know about that. We're going to have to see how it all plays out because they might be too hyped out throughout this entire situation, not just against the Patriots, but in the playoffs for their teammate. Derek, for me, my only concern about the Bills is not their talent. I think they're the most talented team in the league. It starts with the coach and also the way that team is built. And they do run on emotion. And in situations like this, you kind of have to put the emotions down and just play football. Can they do it? That's my only question on the Bills. Not talent. Can they keep their emotions in check with a very difficult situation on their hands?
Yeah, I mean, I think it could go one of two ways, and you laid it out. I think you could see a team kind of frothing at the mouth, so to speak, to get out there and play for their teammate. I think you could see that in a positive way, or maybe it gets them too hyped up and they make a couple early mistakes. So I have no doubt the environment is going to be absolutely electric. I'm kind of getting chills just thinking about it right now. I mean, we've used the term, the the Patriots versus everyone, New England versus the world in the past. It's really going to be like that on Sunday. If you're not a Patriots fan, I'm sure you're probably rooting for Buffalo, and I get it. It's an incredible story. They've had a lot of adversity all season. Nothing that would trump this, of course, and it's just going to be very emotional in a lot of different ways, I think, for fans, but for more importantly, the players and the coaches and everyone else. So I'm interested to see how it plays out. Obviously, the Bills have had their way with the Patriots pretty much for the last few years, and I agree with you, Russ. I mean, if they're not the most talented, they're in the conversation and with the top few teams in the league, and it's gonna be a tough game for the Patriots in a lot of ways. But this emotion element is definitely a variable that we're not going to know until the game kicks off.
Right, and that's why I wanted to start by talking about this, because I have much respect for the Buffalo Bills, for their players. I don't have as much respect for their head coach, because I think their head coach is a ticking time bomb. I really believe this. I think he's a talented coach, but I've seen on a few occasions him letting his emotions take over. So this is a tough one for him. Can he make good decisions under pressure? I still haven't seen it. I've seen him make bad decisions under pressure. So I'm just curious, Steve, your view on the Bills, because I'll just say it. They should win the Super Bowl. They should win the Super Bowl. If they don't win the Super Bowl, I'm going to blame it on McDermott, because I think it's going to come down to him and the type of environment he has built there. Because let's be honest, the Patriots have really worked off of the emotion or lack of emotion of Belichick and just been very cerebral. I think the Bills take their cues from their head coach. So your thoughts on all this?
Well, first of all, like Derek said, that atmosphere is going to be beyond electric on Sunday afternoon. I mean, that place is always loud. That was loud when they were terrible. When the Bills were terrible, that place was still extremely loud. So you can imagine the roof is going to come off that place. And, I think, the first 5 to 10 minutes of the game, I think it's the Patriots. That's going to be my number one key too. They're going to have to weather the storm.
Yep.
Because they can't afford to let that emotionally charged atmosphere work against them. Because if it does, it's going to snowball. And by the end of the first quarter, this game will be out of hand.
Hand on the Bible, that's my first key too. It's just survive. Okay. Just survive the beginning of the game. You want to call that? You want to call that half the first quarter? You want to call it the entire first quarter? They have to, in your words, weather that storm. If they do and they can keep it close, who knows? But if I think you get out of hand quickly.
All that emotion and adrenaline will start to wear down, and that will be the time that they have to make a move and play their football game.
Right.
But I agree with you, Russ. I think the Bills should win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I think it's going to come down to them in San Francisco. I just think, even with the quarterback San Francisco has right now, I still think they're going to come out of the NFC. I don't think it's going to be Philly.
It shows you how good that team is.
Yeah. I totally agree with you, Steve. I mean, totally agree.
They can run the football. They have good receivers. They have a tremendous defense. All of those things travel. So no matter what happens with them, I think it's going to be them in Buffalo this year. But, it's going to be interesting because I read something today that they were talking about maybe a neutral site for the AFC Championship.
Yeah, depending on it was approved. It was approved today. If talk about a popsicle headache, Russ. If you look there's certain permutations that if they come true, the AFC Championship game will be at a neutral site. Now, not always, but there's some. You can read about it if you want. And Russ, I know this isn't necessarily the Bills. Just really quickly.
Yeah, go ahead.
We talked about it on Wednesday, and Stephen talked about this on Wednesday. No one really wanted to say it, but I knew that the fangs would start to come out eventually, and you've kind of heard that a little bit from Cincinnati and Baltimore since in the last 12, 16 hours or so, because Cincinnati's like, well, we okay, yeah, we won the division. Baltimore's like, well, hey, you guys just got the division, but now Cincinnati's like, well, you should be going off winning percentage for seeding, and I don't know. It's obviously everyone didn't want to say anything because the bigger picture was DeMar, but feathers are starting to get ruffled a little bit, and it's just an interesting side drama story. That's all.
The only thing I will say, Derek, and it's been consistent for as long as I've basically been watching the NFL, the ownership, the everything to do with the higher ups with the NFL going all the way up to Roger Goodell, they got their head up their ass, and they get in their way of so many different things to make things not as transparent, not as clear cut as it should. They just make up the rules as they go along. Steve has always said this. They're doing it again.
Yeah, well, the structure in place is for what Cincinnati's arguing is like, hey, in your rule book, it says you should go off winning percentage. The NFL was like, well, this seems like a different, situation. And I get it. It's a tough, I think they've navigated since the game ended. I think they've navigated the waters okay. I give them a little credit compared to normal. But I do agree with you. It's very consistent with what they've done in the past and what Steve has always said. They make up the rules as they go along, even in this unprecedented situation.
Yeah, and it's too bad. And I'm glad that you brought up Cincinnati. I don't really want to spend a lot of time talking about it. I'll just share my thoughts and we'll move on. I think they're getting screwed here. I just think it's terrible the way this is all playing out. But you know what? The players' health comes first. That was number one for me. I'm glad he's okay. If they have a hard time with it, I understand it. But let's just move on and let's just play football.
Look, Park Avenue is going to take the side of Baltimore. We know this. They're not going to take the side of Cincinnati. They're going to take the side of Baltimore. So
yeah, that's true.
And I just think that Zach Taylor sitting there as one of the heroes from the other night, and he was, but. Sean McDermott came up to him and said, I don't think I can coach this game. I need to be with DeMar. And so Zach Taylor was like, well, yeah, of course. Like, okay, we'll just end the game. And then I think Zach Taylor's saying, we ended the game, but well, now we're being punished for doing the right thing. And it's like, so I can see that all around it. I think everyone has its own side. That's why no one's going to win. But I knew that we'd start to see some flames here kick up, and we're starting to see it a little bit. But I think, what's done is done. It's not going to be clean. It's a situation that hopefully we don't see for a very long time again. But just the league kind of doing what they want to do. Another example.
Okay, good stuff. All right. Coming up next, we're going to break down this game. We're going to preview this game for the Patriots against the Bills. Okay, guys, as always, we start with which team has the advantage. I have a feeling we're going to go Buffalo with all of them, but, let's go through them. Steve, Patriots are on offense. Bills are on defense. In the passing game, who do you give the advantage to?
Well, yeah, they're missing DeMar Hamlin. So, that'll be a blow. Actually, he is a really good run defender. He's also I think underrated in the passing game. That will hurt them. However, the Patriots have Matt Patricia calling the plays. And to me, this game is, conservatism is out the window. You have to air this ball out in Buffalo on Sunday.
Okay.
Because if you play conservative,
I agree.
You're going to play right into their hands. And, Mac Jones will have 179 yards at the end of the day. If you turn the ball over, so be it. At least you go down swinging.
Okay.
But I still give the advantage to Buffalo's defense on this by a pretty wide margin. But if I'm the coach of the Patriots, I go down swinging. I'm not playing conservative in this game because, as Gerard Mayo said, I think it was this morning, this is a trash bag game. You lose, you pack all your stuff in your locker and you go home.
Steve, let me ask you this, though. I agree with you, but don't you think that going back to what, a little preview of our first key is going to be, don't you think you have to be conservative, at least to start the first quarter or so? Just keep the game close.
Weather the storm, Steve.
Weather the storm a bit, and then you can start to open up a little bit, right?
But, when I say weather the storm, that's like,
Defensively, you're talking about, Steve?
Well, both sides of the ball, but at the same time, if you have a 3rd and 6, don't send 3 receivers on a 2-yard route, because that's going to play right into that emotional factor of the game. Send them out at least 7 yards where they're beyond the sticks. And as we've seen too many times this year, they throw 2-yard passes or behind the line of scrimmage on 3rd and 6 or longer.
Right.
And they can't do that on Sunday. If they want to win this game and actually punch their tickets to the postseason without having to rely on, 18 teams having a decided income, then, this is the way they have to do it. But I give the big advantage to Buffalo.
Okay.
Because they won't.
Derek, over to you. We're going to talk about the Patriots running game against the Bills defense. Now, what's interesting here, I have listened to a little talk here. All the talk is typical. The Patriots have to run the ball. They have to run the ball. This is what they have to do. Steve's going the exact opposite. Air it out. And I actually like Steve's strategy. But who do you give the advantage if the Patriots do decide to run the ball? As you were talking about, weather the storm. Does that mean running the ball? And can you run the ball on the Bills?
Well, you can, but the Bills have a decent run defense. I mean, they're 4.3 yards per carry allowed. I mean, look, I get what Steve's point is. I just think you can't be as conservative as you have. You got to be certainly more aggressive. It can't be run, one pass for 5 yards, incomplete punt. Like you can't do that this week. So I agree. You got to let Mac air it out more. But I also would say Ramondre, even though he's had some blunders in 2 of the last 3 weeks, I still think he showed how valuable he is. If you want to call screen passes, pass plays, whatever you want to do, you got to get the ball in his hands at least. And that's going to be their identity. But I agree with Steve. I want to see some shotgun. I want to see some downfield passes. I want to see some deep crossers. They're going to have every year, guys, they open up the bag of tricks a little bit. I know they don't have that genius in McDaniels here anymore, but I'm hoping they have something up their sleeve, because you're going to have to steal. You can't just score 1 touchdown and kick 3 field goals and call it a day this week. You got to get into the end zone. And, I do give the Bills the advantage and overall though.
Okay. Derek, back to you. Let's switch it. Patriots are on defense and the Bills are on offense in the passing game. Now, on the face of it, this is a no-brainer. It's Bills, Bills, Bills.
Kind of.
But, and then I'm going to go with a but. The Patriots have had their asses kicked lately against the Bills, especially in the passing game. They have to do something different. Will they have something different planned for Josh Allen? Can they do something different? Will they adjust? Because Bill Belichick does adjust from seeing the team the second time around. They do adjust. Can they do it against the Bills this time? Josh Allen has proven me wrong. He's had a fantastic year, but I think he can be had. Can the Patriots actually do this?
Well, they need to contain him, but here's the thing. The Patriots' run defense right now, it's been a little Jekyll and Hyde all year. Against running backs, they've been really good. They're top.
I'm talking about the passing game.
Oh, I thought we were talking about running game. Okay,
No,
I thought we
game.
used that.
Sorry.
Okay, well, anyway. So passing game, yeah. Okay, well, then I'll switch.
There's a golden for Derek.
That's okay. I felt like we always do running first, but anyway, whatever.
No, he started with passing with me.
No, okay. I don't know. He screwed me up. I'm just going to blame Russ, and I'll watch the tape later, and we'll figure it out.
That's right. Just blame him.
Yeah, so you're screwed in the passing game. I think that what you have to do is I'd like to see a lot of either Duggar or Jabril Peppers, who I feel like has gotten more and more active as he gets better from his ACL recovery. I see Peppers as the spy on Allen and use Duggar more in the box this week. Duggar's made a lot of big plays. He's the only player in the NFL with 3 touchdowns this season, but I still think he gets a little too fast and loose in the pass game. So what I want to see is using some combination of either Peppers and Duggar spying Allen. I think that's the key. Obviously, we know he has a cannon, but to me, I would go ahead and give the Bills the advantage. You just got to they shred man. You're going to have to play zone, and you're just going to have to be aggressive with him and try to keep him in the pocket and just hold on.
I agree with that because. What they tried to do the last time was contain Allen in the pocket.
Right.
And that's fine. But you still have to bring pressure on him. You can't contain him in the pocket and give him 6 to 8 seconds to throw the football, because that just defeats the entire purpose. You're going to have to take some chances yeah, he might get out and run, but like you said, if you got a guy like Peppers playing, the spy role, he's athletic enough to keep up with them. Now,
I agree.
he gives a lot away in size and weight to Allen, but at least he can, slow up that run process by coming onto him and wait for help. But just the containment thing, that's not going to work, especially against these receivers.
I know. I think just like you want to be aggressive on offense, Steve, you got to be aggressive on defense. That means flood zones. That means bring extra pressure. That means leave a spy in. And you just can't play we're going to drop 8 and you have 3 linemen rushing. If you do that, he's going to kill you. I mean, he's done it. And they try spinning the dial on him constantly, but you got to try to be aggressive and you got to try to surprise him a little bit, because going back to Russ's point to start the show, which we all agree with, emotions are going to be high. He's not impervious to mistakes. He's a great player, but he's also a guy who's not afraid to take chances.
I have a theory on something we have not seen in a long time. And they've done this, believe it or not, against the Buffalo Bills. The amoeba defense. Would you bring it back to face Josh Allen? Would you? If you're Belichick, Steve and Bill, and then, of course, Gerard Mayo, would you bring back the amoeba defense where you're standing up, you're basically moving all around, you're trying to confuse him at the line of scrimmage?
I would try everything. And I would get my best 11 athletes on the field, and I would just say, good luck. Seriously. And drop, maybe you're going to bring 5 one time. Maybe you're going to bring 4. Maybe you're going to, maybe you're going to go 0 once. Maybe you only have 2
defensive linemen like they would do against Peyton Manning.
Yeah, and that's fine. And then leave Peppers as a spy and then drop everybody else and see what happens. I mean, you got to try. The point of the matter is you can't just let him have his way with you. Just like on offense, where Steve's saying you got to be aggressive. Defensively, especially the same. Okay. And I would argue you should be more aggressive on defense from the beginning.
Empty the playbook on Sunday.
I agree.
There's no tomorrow.
Yeah, you got nothing to lose. That's why I was thinking, why not try that? I have not seen it all season. Why not try that? It's something that
I don't think they did it last year either.
They have not done it in a while, Steve, but when they have done it, they've been actually accused by our local media as gimmicking up a way to get pressure. But you know what? You try everything here.
Other teams do that.
Yeah, other teams do it. All right, over to you, Steve, just because we're running short on time. Who has the advantage in the running game?
I think the Patriots do, because the Bills, other than Josh Allen, haven't been running the football, great. So I think they'll be able to stop the run at least, through the first half. And we'll see how much time of possession Buffalo and the Patriots have at halftime, because if it's really tilted the way it was the last game, then, they're going to wear down. However, I think, if you're just putting their running game out, say it's a blizzard, and they're trying to run the football, I think the Patriots have the advantage there.
Okay. And just so you know, I did check the weather. It's going to be somewhere between 34 and 35 degrees.
No, so that's balmy from Buffalo.
That's actually fairly warm for Buffalo. So just keep that in mind. I actually did check the weather. So, all right. It's time for 3 keys to victory. Mr. Balistrieri, go ahead.
I think, as I said at the outset, I think you have to weather the storm. It's going to be a really charged atmosphere, and there's going to be a lot of emotions at play. And as I said about DeMar Hamlin, he's recording a message to his teammates. They're going to play that right before the kickoff.
Oh yeah,
and that place will be rocking. I think the number 2 is, like I also said, you have to throw conservative out the window. I'm not saying throw a bomb on, 40 times a game. I'm saying you have to find holes out there in the 12 to 15 yard range. No more of this nibbling stuff that they've been doing all year. It just hurts your offense, and it makes it much easier for the opposing defense. Number 3 key, I think, on defense, you have to come up with a game plan where you're not only, dropping a lot of guys in coverage, but you're getting pressure, because like I said, just containing him isn't enough.
Okay, excellent. Derek, over to you. Your 3 keys.
Yeah, it's pretty similar to Steve's. All right, weather the storm. First and foremost, be aggressive on both sides of the ball, and don't let Josh Allen kill you with your legs. It's really just that simple for me, guys.
Okay, excellent. All right, let's end with predictions. Mr. Havens, I'll go to you first. Give me your prediction.
I think it's going to be an electric atmosphere. I do think that Buffalo will come out swinging. I'm fascinated to know if that hurts them at all at the beginning or if it helps them. Not that they need much against the Patriots these days, but I do think they'll make some mistakes. I think the Patriots will at least keep it close for a little bit. Maybe I'm wrong. I'd like to see, if the Patriots lose, I'd like to see at least some fight and not get absolutely blasted like you did last year in your last contest of the year in the postseason versus the Bills where you lost by 30. So, we'll see. I just know, guys, that we've watched a consistently bad offense get dragged by a pretty good defense all year long. And right now, that pretty good defense is going against an absolute wagon in the Bills. So it's going to be tough. It's going to be a tough assignment. I think the Patriots are going to lose this game, unfortunately. I'm going to go with 37-23 Bills.
Okay. Steve?
Do you think they're going to score 23?
Wow. That's consistent for them. Three field goals, 1 touchdown. That's what they do every week.
Oh, 13. I thought you said 23.
No, I did. Yeah, 3 field goals and a touchdown. Maybe they'll do the 2 touchdowns, but one of them's a defensive touchdown. They only win one way or 2 ways.
Yeah.
It's the same game every week.
Anyway, I think Buffalo. I think the Patriots defense will do a pretty good job. I think they'll keep it close for a while, but I'm with you. I think it's 27-13.
Ooh.
Buffalo.
Okay, excellent. Good stuff. Guys, I'm just going to share real quick my 3 keys. This goes back to what I had said earlier. I agree with what you guys are talking about, weathering the storm. I haven't done 3 keys in a while. My number 1 goes back to my thoughts on defense because I think that is the key to this game. I think the Patriots have to cause turnovers and maybe get a pick 6. They're probably going to have to do that to win. And so that's my number 1 key. Or number 3, whatever. Number 2, they need to do what Steve said. I think they need to open up the playbook and let him throw the ball and at least throw the ball down the field to open things up in the middle of the field. And I think that they need to focus on some plays in the middle of the field. I think that they've been really not showing us enough of that. And number 3, I think it's going to come down to the play in both trenches, the offensive and defensive lines. Can they hold? Can they get pressure? That's what it's going to come down to. So, guys, I'm going with a Patriots victory, 21-17.
Are you just doing this because you said final game of the season to start the show, or just making up for it?
No, I actually I am going with a Patriots victory.
I could see it.
I thought about this a half hour before we ever went. I might be the only one probably in the world doing this. But I'm doing this because, 1, I think Belichick is the greatest coach ever, and I think he will actually figure out a way to contain Josh Allen.
The only way I see the Patriots winning this game,
and they're going to have to get a pick 6.
Yeah, is they need a huge defensive play or maybe a special teams play.
Yep.
They need to play turnover free on offense, and they have to do something they haven't really done all season, which is have a competent offense that can score in the red zone. And I mean score touchdowns, not field goals. I don't have any faith in it, but I can see a path if the Bills come out, too frazzled. I have a hard time getting there.
I know I'm all by myself on this, but I thought about it and I'm just going to go with it. I'm going to go with it.
Right.
And
I was hoping they were going to beat Cincinnati on Monday and then Kansas City would lose on Sunday last week. And then the Bills just decide to rest everybody, but that didn't happen. But I will say this, if Kendrick Bourne is relegated to the bench again, I'd fire everybody, the whole kit and caboodle. Because
you know what?
It's like,
there's a good story there, and I'm sure it will eventually come out. There's a story.
If he's sitting on the bench in this game against Buffalo,
the truth is going to come out about Kendrick Bourne.
And if he does,
yeah.
and I don't care if they win or lose, I'm firing everybody.
Well, so someone asked
He's
about Bill
firing everyone. I love
someone
it.
asked Bill Belichick the other day about Kendrick Bourne, and he said no particular reason. And I thought it was interesting that our friend of the show, Fred Kirsch, was said, well, everyone's saying, oh, it's no particular reason. He's like, yeah, and Fred said, yeah, it could be, yeah, no particular reason. Like there's so many to choose from.
Yeah.
And so I think there's something going on behind the scenes. Russ, can I just share one thing before we go?
Go ahead.
All right. So if the Patriots lose, they need these 3 things to happen. I spelled it out since Russ gave me the admin controls. It's very simple. It's 3 things. So if you're watching, you can see Miami loss, Pittsburgh loss, Jacksonville win. If the Patriots lose, they can still get in if these 3 things happen.
Okay. Well, thank you,
you,
Derek. That just gave me a huge popsicle headache, but thank you.
Really? That's it?
Yeah.
Claire says her key to the victory is use Hunter Henry properly.
Okay. My key to victory is that
Hunter catches the ball.
that he actually catches the ball. Well, actually, it's not really him. It's been Jonas Smith who hasn't really caught the ball. But Claire, just for 1 week, hey, how about you saying a wide receiver catches the ball? That would be different. You know, that'd be
Kendrick Bourne.
Kendrick Bourne. There you go. Kendrick Bourne. All right. Well, let's wrap this up. Guys, thank you for doing the show. And again, thank you everyone that watches and listens every week, especially thank you to Ian Logue, who does our videos and posts them on YouTube on the PatsFans.com YouTube channel. Well, that's going to do it for this episode of Patriots 4th and 2. Thank you again to Steve Balestrieri and Derek Havens. I'm Russ Goldman. Thank you as always for watching and listening to Patriots 4th and 2, the official podcast, PatsFans.com.